Joining us now is clinical psychologist and filmmaker, Dr. Meleeka Clary, who's here to discuss her eponymous podcast show and the streaming release of her new film titled Three Corners of Deception, and I can't wait to hear all about it. Hi, Dr. Clary. Welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Of course. It's a pleasure to have you with us. So before we get to your film, tell us a bit about your work as a clinical psychologist, including the types of services that you offer.
Yes, I offer psychotherapy, and that is a range of different therapy, like couple counseling, marriage counseling, relationship building, or career path, because you don't need to have a mental disorder just to receive counseling. So some people go to counseling because they want career path, they want to know what direction to go. If they have maybe they want to be a doctor, maybe they want to be an entertainer, but they want to see a therapist for that. So I provide those services as well. Plus, if you're depressed or something like that, or anxiety or schizophrenia or any of those disorders, I provide those as well. So it's all types of therapy, psychotherapy that I provide.
All such important services in today's world. And as I mentioned at the top, you also have the Dr. Meleeka Clary Show podcast. So tell us a bit about that.
Yes, the Dr. Meleeka Clary Show on the Bold and Brave TV network. That is about identification of oneself. And I say that because I interview all types of individuals. You can be a filmmaker, you could be a celebrity, you could be an average person, a taxi driver. I really want to know about you. And of course, they explain what they do as well. And we have a lot of people walking around and they don't really know who they are. I mean, like, for example, I could sit here and tell you all about me, but then when the door is closed, I'm doing something else, or I don't feel like that's who I am. It's almost like you're living for someone else. And I think we do a lot of that. And I want to know, who do you identify yourself as? And it's in a positive way. People talk about challenges because many people in average folks, they think that, oh, this is a celebrity. They got it so easy. Well, no, they have challenges. They bleed, they cry, they have testimonies, and so they share. Sharing is caring. I so believe that. So I'm glad that people that, share their stories and their testimonies on my platform is trying to help other people. And that's why I love the Dr. Meleeka Clary Show, because it's about positivity. It's just about you. It's about things that you can share. What makes you work? What makes you live? What makes you get up in the morning? Because that something might help somebody else get up in their morning.
And I love that allowing people to share their experiences and give their testimony will help destigmatize the challenges that people are going through. Whether it's depression or anxiety, people can just relate to those feelings. And the more we kind of have that conversation in the public domain, the more apt people will be to even have those conversations and get the help that they need to seek fellowship and those other support resources. So it's really just such a great podcast. And also on the creator front, your film, Three Corners of Deception, is an exciting project for you, I know. So tell us what led you to produce that and where folks can go to watch it.
Well, Prime Video, it is available on Prime Video, people. I'm so excited about it because they can find it on the IMDb as well. Even if you have to press the search button, just Three Corners, and that's it. It should just go. So I just would love to tell that to people because, this movie it's a passion movie. It's based on true events, and it's something that happened to me. So if you want to know a little bit about me, go see this movie. But it's a movie that I never thought I was actually going to finish, because it wasn't something that I said, okay, I just woke up and I want to do this type of movie, because my movie is based on judicial deception. It's a love, it's a romance, and it's things that happen in that movie that happened to me in real life that has to do with judicial officers. And I'm a human rights activist, so I'm really going to speak up about things I do not agree with. And I don't agree with what happened to me. And I say that with passion because I didn't know what was going to happen to me. I still to this day can't believe that what happened to me, and still there's things going on, but I made a movie about it. I guess I have to say that this is God's gift for me to actually be able to finish this movie because I've had so many obstacles to finish this movie. And I actually finished. It took me about 4 years to film. And it's an independent movie. So it basically is not a high budget, it's not a motion like a big, like Sony or someone like that. It's an independent movie. I did the best. I tell people, when you watch this movie, it's a person that felt like something was happening to her. And the only way to expose these type of people is to make a movie. That is the only thing I can say. I think a lot of people will like it. I did go around the film festival circuit, and I have to say it won, or I should say it had received recognition, over 85 recognitions all over the world, different countries. And for an independent movie, for this to be my first film, I'm very pleased with those results alone.
And as you say, a film is such a huge undertaking. So even just completing it's a huge accomplishment unto itself. But to have that recognition from others who are identifying with this viscerally emotional film must be such vindication for you in that situation that you were immersed in. So it just has to be so gratifying on so many levels. But I have to ask, is it kind of uncomfortable to base something so closely on your own life experiences and put it out there in a way that's so revealing and so raw? What's that like for you?
I have to say, it is kind of like, I don't want to say, I could say shameless because I feel like, oh, ashamed for telling people my story. But then that's what they wanted me, like these officers, these bad individuals that wanted me to feel like guilty for sharing my story. And I don't feel that way anymore. I feel like you need to know. I feel remorse. I feel like released. It's a release, it's a flow technique for me. Now I feel like, sharing is caring. How would you know if I don't share this? And somebody else, now that I've been doing this movie and filming and very public on the social media, and people all over, even in this county, mainly in this county, is reaching out to me and saying, hey, that was happening to me as well. See, when one speaks up, you start to get more people to follow. And that's the thing that I love the most because it's happening to other people. I'm not the only one, and I'm really not. I am the one that stood up and say, hey, I'm going to do this because I didn't want to tell people my business. I never even was on social media until 2016. That's when I actually was, well, I have to say, I could say this. I was going to jail for allowing my son to be baptized. And that is like, what? Are you serious? That's the type of stuff that was happening. And that's a right. So I know about my civil rights. And that's when I started going into developing the movie and protesting and stuff like that. So with that being said, of course, people have to see the movie to understand a little bit more about that. But that is where it started. It was just like I was being abused and my rights were being taken away from me. And I didn't know what else to do. I was powerless and the powerful was taking advantage of me.
Well, with this film, you are clearly taking the power back. And as you mentioned, making a movie is such a huge undertaking. So what obstacles did you inevitably face and overcome along the way?
Well, one thing I will say is that because my movie has judicial officers involved, judges or lawyers, it was part of a good old boy network. It was almost like, you're not going to film in this courthouse because we know those people. See, I got pushed back in the middle of my filming. It was just like, really? No, I got 34 actors and actresses coming from everywhere. This is not right. But I have to say, a nice, good judge, and he know who he is, had told me that does not play in my courtroom. And he convened and said, you know what? No, she is definitely going to film. So there's good judges, there's bad lawyers, there's good lawyers. And I did have a great judge that day that said, no, you pay taxes. You can utilize this courtroom just like anyone else. Let the show proceed. And I loved it. So that was a huge obstacle because I was just like, okay, there's nothing I could do. I mean, I don't know what to do. But he actually jumped in and said, nope, that's not going to happen. I'm not a part of that. So there's people that do stand up and say they're not a part of that riffraff. They're not a part of the good old boy network. They're not trying to be a part of that. So that was one challenge, but there were several other challenges. I mean, you had to deal with different actors and actresses, and some people don't know how to take fame they take it a little differently. I mean, it was an independent film. I mean, I'm trying to put you on the big screen, but we got some divas acting a little diva-ish, and and it was just like, really? I mean, I don't know what it is with the camera. It makes people do pretty crazy things. So I ran into a lot of things. So we had to change some things around. Unfortunately, that's part of the business. But I did get the movie completed. And I will say this as being an independent filmmaker, a lot of people do not like to, I want to say they don't have faith in the independent films. And that's sad because it's just an independent situation financially. I know we're not Sony or Columbia Pictures or anything like that, but we're still filmmakers and we still have a voice and we still have a story and we still want to display something as creative. So I think people should start trying to change their mindset about that. And that's one thing I was getting to. It was just like, oh, that's just an independent movie. They're not taking me seriously. But you know what? I was in 12 theaters, 7 states, and we selected that. And I put people on a big screen, and we had 165 people in an independent movie. And I say, hey, this movie received 85 recognitions all over the world, different countries and everything for an independent movie. And first try at it, that's what I have to say.
Yes, amazing. It must be so validating and motivating for you, like I said. And on that note, tell us what's ahead for you. Any other films in the pipeline?
Yes, we are. I'm actually the Boston Girls because I'm from Boston. So I'm going to film the Boston Girls. I did finish the script. I'm so glad for that. But we want to just see how this movie does. We want to lift it up. We're still advertising and letting people know that Three Corners of Deception is available. So we have to really, do that. So right now I'm also doing some different interviews around in different states and stuff like that to let people know because they've been wanting to see this movie. But The Boston Girls is the next film, and it will be filmed in Boston, where I'm from. And I'm so excited about that. So excited about that.
Yes, you certainly should be, and I can't wait to see that unfold as well. And you just have so much wonderful stuff going on across so many professional fronts. So I look forward to keeping up with you on it all. Thank you so much for joining us on the show today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, and God bless you all. And thank you. I love everybody. Thank you.
And to learn more about Dr. Clary and her podcast and film work, visit drmeleekaclary.com.